Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. It's that time, y'all. This is, of course, the game preview, which I will admit, even from myself, there is a little bit less excitement than the previous games. It's been that way probably since before the Ohio State game. But the bottom line is I do this because I love, obviously, the Iowa Hawkeyes, and you, the fans, deserve nothing more. I will always try and pump this content out for you guys because I received a question. Somebody asked me if I was going to continue making football videos due to the direction the Iowa football program has gone this season. And that is the answer. The answer is absolutely. Iowa fans deserve nothing less. So, but before I get into the Iowa versus Northwestern game preview, I want to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button, support your boy. It takes 1.5 seconds. Like, comment, share. You know the drill. If you want to donate and support your boy's coffee habit, you can hit the money sign on the YouTube channel or the video that you are watching here. And without further ado, let's get into this. Absolutely, Iowa fans. I am right along with you. This has not been an easy season. This is not an easy video to create. There is not a ton of excitement surrounding the Iowa football program at the moment. I think at this point, Iowa fans basically feel that there is not going to be a change made, and the season is more or less lost. Excuse me. And this has been repeated for the past couple of weeks. A major disappointment or fact surrounding the disappointment is the reality that Iowa has a good enough defense and special teams to compete with anybody in the country. But the offense is so bad that they have been losing games. And, we went through the defensive ranking, the scores that Iowa, or the points Iowa's defense has given up. And if you were to see the amount of points that Iowa gave up each game, and you did not see how many points Iowa scored, you would I would guarantee 90% of the time, if not 100% of the time, you would guess that Iowa won each and every one of those games, aside from Michigan and Ohio State. So that is tough. Obviously, the main storyline, the two main storylines going into the game this week is Brian Ferentz. He has continued to take heat, and it has not subsided. I did a video on Brian Ferentz. I highly suggest you guys go and watch that. It's a really good video. Brian Ferentz, the Iowa football program as a whole, and Kirk Ferentz, everything surrounding this whole debacle so far. And the second storyline is the quarterback position. Will it be Spencer Petras or Alex Padilla? I think Iowa is going to go with Spencer Petras again, folks. I really, really do, because the reality is Alex Padilla, when he was inserted into the lineup last week, did not do well enough to, completely overshadow Spencer Petras. And in other words, Alex Padilla did not do well enough for the coaches to go, oh, absolutely, he needs to start. He has absolutely played himself into the conversation of starting. The only reason Alex Padilla is even being considered for the starting position is because of how bad Spencer Petras and the entire Iowa offense has been. That's pretty much it. Now, I have been on record, and I've read many comments to this nature, that Iowa should go with Joey Lavis. And I said at the beginning of the season that I would go with Joey Lavis. I said at the beginning of the season that my hopes for Spencer Petras to make some mass improvement were quite low, and I did not think that was going to happen. And so I thought that Iowa should, if it was me, they should bite the bullet and look onward to next year. And I also said that I did not believe Alex Padilla was the answer at quarterback. So I would go with Joey Labus. I want to say that for, the 10th time, that is who I would go with and allow him to grow in this season. You certainly have the defense and the special teams to put up with it. And if you look at it from the fact, a couple of things. One, could he be any worse than what we've already seen from Petrus? That's number one. And number two, again, as I said, you have the defense and the special team to keep you in games. Heck, they've been doing it all year for Petrus. But going back to, that's not going to happen. It's not going to be Labus. It's down to Padilla and Petrus. And I think Petrus is going to get the starting nod in this game. And I think even though the coaches say that they don't want the quarterback to be looking over his shoulder. In other words, whoever the starting quarterback is, they want to give a long leash to. If it's Spencer Petrus, I don't think that's going to be the case. If he is not getting it done by halftime, I think Iowa will be more than okay with switching and making a change at quarterback. So those are the main storylines going into this game. Here is the ESPN Power Index giving Iowa close to an 87% chance of winning this game. The only team that has played worse than Iowa in the Big Ten West is, of course, Northwestern. Helinski, the Northwestern quarterback, has 1,574 yards, 6 TDs to 6 INTs, which oddly enough seems actually better, if that's even possible, than Spencer Petrus. As crazy as that sounds, Petrus has 989 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Can you guys believe that? Iowa only has 2 passing touchdowns. That is incredible. Hull for Northwestern, Hull has 547 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. LaShawn Williams, Iowa's leading rusher, only has 267 yards and 2 touchdowns. The leading receiver for Northwestern has 448 yards, 1 touchdown. Sam Laporta, Iowa's leading receiver, has 334 yards. I also wanted to point out that probably the saddest story so far for the Iowa Hawkeyes would probably have to be Sam Laporta. Not that he's been bad, but from the standpoint that he could have left and been drafted in the 4th or 5th round. He came back, 1, to win more at Iowa, and 2, to raise his draft stock. And quite honestly, that is just not the case. He probably is graded as the same NFL draft round tight end as he was last year because the Iowa's offense has been so inept. And that to me is a travesty because he is a really, really talented tight end. And if there was just any semblance of averageness on the offense, Sam Laporta would have a much bigger season than what we have seen so far. Iowa is an 11-point favorite. The over and under for this game is 37.5. Here are the team by team stat comparisons. I'll go left to right. Northwestern gives up 18.6 points per game. Iowa 14. Points per game, offensive points per game. Northwestern scores 18.6. Iowa only scores 14 points per game. Points allowed per game at 28.1 to 16.1. Yards passing 261 to 145. Total yards 389 to 227. Yards rushing 127 to 81. Yards allowed 408 to 278.3. Pass yards allowed 220 to 174. Rush yards allowed 187 to 104. Quite frankly, it seems just by looking at the team stats that the issue isn't necessarily Northwestern. It's not necessarily their offense. It looks to be their defense, which is somewhat surprising because Northwestern almost always has a fantastic defense. Here are the last 5 games for each team. Northwestern lost to Southern Illinois, Miami of Ohio, Penn State, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Iowa, of course, has lost their last 3, all to ranked teams, but still not great. I will show a few PFF grades, but I want to make this video short. because it's the same. The bottom line is it's the same old, same old. It comes down to, can Iowa improve offensively? And as much as I want to give, the benefit of the doubt and say, well, Iowa has played 3 ranked teams and, it's not as bad as it seems because they played, the top teams in the Big Ten. And so it's a little bit deceiving what their stats are and things like that. But the reality is, it's been bad outside of Michigan, Illinois, and Ohio State. I mean, it's been bad going back to last year. If it was crystallized to only Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio State, I think the fans would not be nearly as upset as they are right now. Spencer Petras, oddly enough, has a higher PFF grade than Helinski. Let's take the minimum snap count off here. Alex Padilla has a grade of a 41.6. Just incredible, guys. Absolutely not going to get it done. But listen, folks, I really do believe that if the lack of offense was encapsulated in, as I said, just the 3 games, I don't think the heat would be as hot as it is right now. But because this has been an issue going back to last year, it really is something that the fan base is just getting tired of. Iowa's highest graded wide receiver is 702nd, according to Pro Football Focus. Nico Reganey. Arlan Bruce is 802nd. Brody Brecht is 944th, guys. Wow. I took the minimum snap counts off. So that is also not going to get it done. Here are the tight end grades. Sam Laporta is actually graded much higher than I would expect, with everything considering. Luke Lachey has dropped off a little bit since, having some decent games at the beginning of the season. I continue to say that, in my opinion, Iowa has the weapons. They have the athletes. It's just the play calling, the game plan, the scheme is just not there. It's not cutting it. And that, in the end, I'm not sure if that's something that you can change midweek. The last position group that I'm going to show the corners because I'm interested to see what Riley Moss is graded. Jack Campbell is rated as the 6th best linebacker in the country. He actually, and Seth Benson is 23rd. Seth Benson's having a great year also. When I had this off, it looked like his grade was 3rd. No, he's 6th. He's 6th right there. You guys can see it. Seth Benson's grade is impressive as well. I mean, it's, I'm actually surprised he's top 30. So, as I suspected, Riley Moss is not necessarily having as good of a year, at least according to Pro Football Focus. And I mean, he has been beaten definitely a few times this year on the back shoulder throw. And, he hasn't been getting the takeaways that we have grown accustomed to seeing with Iowa DBs. Now, part of that could be that teams just aren't throwing his direction as much. There could be a few answers to that. Cooper DeJean is 117th. They still have good grades. I mean, 75.9 and 75.5, even a 70.5 are all really strong grades. So I will not, get too heated up about that. But, I going into this season, I thought Riley Moss would be a guaranteed top 30 DB in the country. All right, guys, it is, of course, that time, game prediction, and there ain't going to be nothing sexy about my prediction here besides my bomber jacket, of course. I have, the reality is I can't tell a lie to you, Iowa fans. I just can't. I can't do it. I don't think Iowa will lose this game. I'll say that up front, but I I also wouldn't be surprised if it happens. Iowa has always had problems against Northwestern. Um, this is certainly not a game that they should lose, though. I'll tell you that much. If they lose this game at home, this will be an all-time low. It really will be. I do not expect the offense to improve. The time to improve the offense was at the in the offseason. It is too late. All the plays, the scheme, all of that is what it is. It is too late. And the perfect example of that is what Iowa looked like after a bye week against Ohio State. They didn't change a dang thing. So it's not going to change against Northwestern. The only thing you can hope for, and I'm not even sure you want to hope for this, and I'll tell you why in a second, is that Iowa gets good at their bad scheme. And, they find a way to make it work, and go from basement dweller offense to below average offense. The reason why you may not want it to actually improve is because if you want changes to be made, perhaps the silver lining in all of this is that this is what needed to happen in order for that to happen. Changes are not made when things are going good. And the perfect example of that is Kirk Ferentz constantly referencing the 10, the 9 wins. So, again, if you want things to change, the only way is for Iowa to continue to be terrible on offense and preferably, maybe even, lose a game or two. Now, of course, I want Iowa to win regardless. And if, Brian Ferentz can make it work, I'm okay with that. So, but again, I am not expecting it. I don't think it will. My prediction for this game is 17-10. Iowa wins this game. And the 17 points they put on the board, I think one, maybe two of those are offensive touchdowns. I think to get to 17 points, Iowa will definitely need a defensive score or a special team score. And that really is the difference between this year and last year is, Iowa last year had Charlie Jones. The defense was just giving Iowa's offense the ball so much that they just had double the opportunities to score than the opposing teams did because the defense were getting takeaways left, right, and center. So my prediction is 17-10. Again, this Iowa will make this game far closer than it needs to be. I hate to say it. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, comment, share. You know the drill. And of course, subscribe. It takes 1.5 seconds. If you want to donate to your boy's coffee habit, just hit the money, the donate button on the video below. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy, Willow. Hang in there, Iowa Hawkeye fans. I love y'all. Go Hawks. See you guys next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and of course, facts over feelings because your feelings don't matter. Really love you guys. See you guys next time.